I'm so happy you could join me for some yoga today. Our sequence is called Feeling the Flow. We're going to go back to a traditional Vinyasa class and maybe we slow it down a little bit. Really feel our body move within that and be intentional in between those transitions. So let's begin in easy pose, coming on to our seat. Feeling that connection to our mat. Maybe that means pulling the skin away from our seat bones. Allowing our shoulders to sink down away from our ears. Eyes can remain open. Find a gentle gaze on the floor or allow your eyes to flutter closed. Placing your palms on your thighs. Start to allow your face to soften, the skin around your eyes, letting your jaw release. Inviting in some softness in your body. And then bringing your attention to the gentle in and out flowing of your breath. Letting it move at its natural pace. Your eyes can remain closed here or keep that gentle gaze on the floor. We're just going to raise our shoulders up towards our ears and then gently release. Let's do that a couple more times. Breaking up any tension you might have in those shoulders or neck muscles. Last one here. And then sink your chin to your chest. Inhale as you lift up back to center, sinking our left ear to our left shoulder. And if you want to reach that opposite arm out, that right hand out, to feel a little bit more of a stretch in your neck. And then release, bring your head and hand back, sinking right ear, right shoulder. You're more than welcome to stay here, or if you want to reach out that left hand. Keeping your attention on your breath. And then releasing that. Let's take a nice breath here. And then we're going to plant that right hand down onto our mat, reaching up with the left and finding that side bend, opening up that left side. And then exhale, planting that left hand down onto the mat, reaching up with that right, opening up on the right side. And coming back to where we started. We're going to do a little twist here, so taking that left hand, grabbing onto that right knee, and walking that right hand back behind as we bring that left shoulder to the right side. On your exhale, untwist. And then right hand comes to that left knee, walking that left hand, back behind. Right shoulder is pointing towards the left side. And release that. Taking a breath here. And then let's make our way into tabletop, coming onto all fours. Spreading those fingers out wide. Finding that placement, wrists are below shoulders, knees are below hips. If you are feeling any discomfort in your wrists, you can always walk your wrists out slightly, or remember you can come up onto your fists to alleviate any wrist discomfort. Let's find cat-cow here. So we're gonna sink our belly to the mat, gaze goes out. And then curling the back, tucking that chin. Linking this movement to our breath. Getting into the rhythm of this pose. Eyes can remain open or allow them to gently close. Softening the belly as your front of your body sinks, and then pulling it in as you curl your back. Let's do a couple more here. Last one. And then we'll meet in that neutral spine. And then we're gonna make our way into a forward fold. So however you wanna get there, if you wanna go into downward dog and then step forward, or you can always come here, step forward, and then make your way into forward fold. Releasing that head and neck. Knees are nice and bent. It might feel good to shake your head from side to side, front to back. We're going to inhale, halfway lift, hands come to shins, and do a couple rounds of Sun Salutation A, also known as Surya Namaskar. Exhale, release, palms plant down onto your mat, knees are bent. We're going to step back into our plank. So plank can be knees off the ground, or knees can come onto our mat, lowering down through chaturanga as our arms sweep the sides of our body, lifting our chest for cobra, and then releasing, pushing through tabletop, making our way into downward facing dog. Keeping your legs still or alternating, bending one knee and then the other, listening to your body and what feels good to you in this practice today. We're going to send our gaze up to the top of a mat as our feet step in between our hands. Finding that forward fold, releasing your head and neck, knees are bent. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins. Gaze is down, back is flat. Maybe just check in with your jaw. Do you notice yourself tightening there or clenching that jaw? Invite that softness to come back in like we did at the beginning of class. Exhale, plant those hands down, stepping back into your plank. So listening to your body, which plank feels better for you today, and then lowering down through the chaturanga, lifting up for cobra, shoulders, envision them kind of traveling down your back, opening up through the front body. And then exhale, release, making your way into downward facing dog. Taking a few rounds of breath here. This time we're going to walk our hands back to meet our feet. So bending those knees and knowing that this is an option. You can always come to the front of your mat. You do not have to walk your hands back to your feet. Walking our hands back, coming into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And then as we exhale, we're going to walk back into our plank pose. You might have to reposition those feet, finding that plank, lowering down through that chaturanga, lifting up to cobra. Keeping that awareness with your breath. Release, pressing through to downward dog. We're going to do one more sun salutation and then move into our warrior sequence. Sending that gaze up to the front of your mat, stepping your feet in between your hands, finding that forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, releasing those hands down, stepping back into your plank. Lowering through to chaturanga. Cobra. And then we'll all meet in downward facing dog. And then bending those knees, we're going to walk our hands back to our feet, coming into that forward fold. And then slowly rolling up one vertebra at a time. Finding mountain pose. Bringing our hands onto our hips. Shifting our weight onto that left foot, we're going to come into warrior one. Stepping that right foot forward, planting that left foot down, making sure that foot is at a 45-degree angle, pressing into that front thigh. Hands can remain on your hips or allow them to reach up to the ceiling. Finding that breath. And then exhale, bringing your hands back behind, interlacing those fingers, resting those hands on your lower back. And then we're going to find humble warrior. So keeping those elbows bent or fully extended to open up your chest. So listen to your body, what is better fit for your body today. And then bringing that chest to that right thigh. Releasing those hands down, framing that right foot, bringing that left foot so the toes are facing forward, and we're going to step that left to meet that right. Forward fold. We're going to inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release, planting those hands down, stepping into downward facing dog. So if that's walking our hands back to meet our feet, or if that's coming in through tabletop and making our way back into that forward fold, whichever way you choose to get there is perfectly fine. And know that you're listening to your body. And then slowly rolling up to mountain pose. Taking a few rounds of breath here. Let's bring those hands to our hips, shifting our weight onto that right foot, stepping that left foot forward, finding warrior one. Swiveling that back foot out so our toes are slightly pointed to the long side of our mat, pressing into that front thigh. Hands can remain at our hips or extend them up towards the ceiling. Tapping into that breath. On your next exhale, bringing your hands back behind, interlacing those fingers. Keeping those elbows bent or extended, finding humble warrior. Chest comes down towards that left thigh. Holding here for a few rounds of breath. Let's release those hands, squaring that left foot, swiveling that right foot so toes are facing forward, bringing right foot to meet left into forward fold. And then slowly rolling up into mountain pose. Taking a nice inhale and exhale. And then we're going to play with some balance here. So finding your feet about hip width distance apart or slightly wider. We're going to play with tree pose. So we're going to shift our weight onto that right leg, finding a drishti here. So a focal point, a non-moving object. And when you feel ready, hands can remain by your side or maybe you bring them to heart center. Lifting that left leg up. Here is one option, finding that kickstand, bringing it up to sit on that calf, or bringing that to your inner thigh there. So wherever you feel comfortable in that tree pose, finding that. And then if your hands are here, great. Then maybe you want to play a little bit today and add a little bit of a challenge. If you've done this and this is a regular part of your practice, allowing your hands to come up as tree branches. And then maybe you add a little bit of movement that feels good to you. And knowing that if you fall out of it, you can always come right back into it. You feel ready, allowing yourself to come out of that tree pose. Let's step our feet out a little bit wider. We're just going to kind of sway side to side. Let's do a nice hip circle here. And then when you find yourself in center, switching that circle. One more circle here. And then let's find them on the opposite side. So shifting our weight onto that left foot, finding that drishti, non-moving object, lifting that right leg, and then finding your tree pose. Keeping your awareness with that breath allows you to hold that concentration. And then again, if you want to add a little bit of challenge, if this is a regular part of your practice, and then finding some movement here. And then whenever you're ready, slowly coming out of that, stepping your feet out a little bit wider. Let's do 2 circles. And then finding that center, turning the other way. And then we're going to make our way down onto our seats, and we're going to extend that right leg out, and that left leg is going to come in. So we're kind of making the number 4. We're going to inhale and reach up towards the ceiling, and we're just going to bend forward. Hinging forward, finding that placement wherever that stretch feels good. Allowing the top of that right thigh to relax. Releasing our jaw and our facial muscles. Tapping into that breath. Walking our hands back to center. Let's swap that leg. Right leg comes in, left leg goes out. Inhale as we reach up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, hinging forward. Finding that placement where it feels good with our hands. Remember to release and soften that face. And then slowly walk our hands back to center. And then we're going to find our way into boat pose. So turning around, bending our knees, thighs are together. Inhaling, lengthening through the spine. Slowly finding that balance on our seat bones. And your boat pose can be here. We want to keep that integrity in the spine, pulling that belly button into our lower back. So no matter where your boat pose is, you're still working that center core of your body. You can always lift one foot and alternate that lifting, allowing both of your feet. Finding that breath when these poses get a little bit more challenging for us. And then whenever you feel ready, just coming out of it. Taking a breath. And then we're going to make our way down onto our backs. So you can either come onto your forearms, keeping our knees bent. We're going to tee those arms, and we're just going to find that twist. So allowing those knees to fall to one side, and your gaze can go out towards the opposite side. Inhale, bringing those knees back. Exhale, dropping them to that opposite side. Our gaze goes to the other side. Inhale, knees come back to center. And then rolling on to one side. Finding that little pillow with your arms. When you feel ready, we're going to press up, finding easy pose. We're just going to finish our practice today with a nice, quiet meditation. Thank yourself for showing up today, for finding your flow, honoring and listening to what your body needed today. Bringing your palms together, allowing them to come to heart center.